Sup, it's Alan LeVert. Today we're going to be talking about something I'm really hyped on. We're going to talk about the forgotten legacy of Wiz Khalifa, the forgotten run of Wiz Khalifa. It's going to be a whole ass series. I figured we start with Wiz Khalifa because a lot of niggas forget Wiz was running this shit for a hot little minute. Quick little backstory. Again, much like with the Doja Cat video, I'm not like some OG fan. I came on with their most popular breakout track. When Black and Yellow came out, I wasn't like a super fan of the song, but I remember it was on the radio and shit like that. I think this was like somewhere around the time 6 Foot, 7 Foot came out by Lil Wayne. I'm not really sure, but Black and Yellow kind of did his thing and it was taking over the airwaves and shit. But I wasn't like super up on Wiz. I didn't even like really fuck with the song like that. It wasn't until he dropped the mixtape Cabin Fever. Now the weird thing with this is everyone at school was talking about how much they fuck with Cabin Fever. And I remember when word traveled over to me about it, I didn't even understand the concept of a mixtape at the time, but I heard the title track. Like I heard the actual song Cabin Fever. There's a bad bitch in here, you see him point them out, right? And that shit grabbed me. That was the first Wiz Khalifa song I had ever heard and said, yo, I really fuck with that guy. From there, it was Mesmerized off of Cushion Orange Juice. You feel me? It was, damn, what's another song? This Plane, like some of his like old school ass shit. Like those were the songs I gravitated to so much. I listened to Flight School like maybe 9 million times and a half, maybe. Like, is that even a number? 9 million and a half? I fucked with a lot of his older stuff, and that's not me like on some hipster stuff. It's just the shit he was putting out was just next level shit to me. I had never heard anything this fucking fire before. This like weird ass like underground backpack meets stoner rap type shit. It was like Mac Miller, but it wasn't trash. May that man rest in peace, by the way. But it's like it was some next level shit for me, and I had never heard anything like Wiz, especially with his beat selection and his flows. I had never heard anything like that before. Now, when Rolling Papers drops, you get fucking smashes. Obviously, Black and Yellow did what it did. You got Roll Up, I Roll Up, hey, I Roll Up. You feel me? You got, I think it was like, is it Wake Me Up or something like, no drive, no sleep, no driving, no sleeping, live it up like it's the weekend. Yo, that was my shit. Nigga, that was my shit. You got the hidden joints like Top Floor, Cameras, Star of the Show. I remember his core fans didn't fuck with Rolling Papers for some reason, but I'm glad we can all collectively look back and agree that was a fucking classic. God damn, that is one of the best pop rap albums ever. Like, I really fuck with that project a lot. A lot of people fucked with it too. And let's not forget fucking cult classic icon On My Level. Ooh, that song hard as fuck. Wiz ran the fucking early 2010s. There's no fucking question about it. After the success of Rolling Papers, but like the weird like underground backlash, he went back on his mixtape shit, right? He went back on his mixtape shit and he started gearing up for his next major project. That would be ONIFC, Only Nigga in First Class. I think for white people, they call it One Night in First Class. I'm not sure, but that's neither here nor there. I never subscribed to any of that bullshit. I always called it Only Nigga in First Class, but he came out with the album cover and it's like him and like the weird like Jimi Hendrix ass vibe on that like chair and shit. And everybody shit on the album cover. I thought this shit was hard. I thought this shit was hard as fuck. But we got in my opinion, one of his best mixtapes. We got Cabin Fever 2. That shit was hard as fuck. And in the meantime, he was dropping a bunch of fucking loosies. Like they weren't even like, I think they were freestyles, but he was dropping loosies that were arguably better than his fucking mixtapes and albums. When we talk about songs like the No Lie freestyle, when we talk about Bed Rest freestyle, I mean, the nigga was dropping fucking hits like Different Clothes and shit like that. He had some crazy shit with Project Pat. He had that joint with God, what is that from Coach to Coach? I think that's the one with like Game and shit. He was dropping Lucy's right and left. He had that joint with 50 Cent, like Telescope or something. Nigga was dropping fucking flame ass Lucy's. Then we get ONIFC. ONIFC would bring us songs like, I believe Work Hard, Play Hard was on there. I think. Gave us songs like Remember Me featuring The Weeknd and shit like that. You got hard ass intros like Intro and Paper Bond and shit like that. You got real chills. Oh my God. I could gush over his early albums all fucking day. Wiz Khalifa was in a different type of zone, and he was in such a weird place to where maybe the streets didn't fuck with his albums, but the critical acclaim was right the fuck there. And white people fuck with Wiz heavy. The radio fuck with Wiz heavy, but he would still supply us with fire-ass mixtape after fire-ass mixtape. Then it was time for Black Hollywood. Wiz Khalifa was on a different level as far as competing with, Star. And again, his Lucy's were bigger than Drake songs. You remember back in the day when Drake would just randomly drop a Lucy and it would shut down the fucking internet? Like you had like Draft Day and 5 a.m. in Toronto and shit like that. Wiz Khalifa was doing the exact same thing. When that nigga dropped songs like, and I'm kind of jumping forward a little bit, but does anybody remember the singles from Black Hollywood? I mean, goddamn, the fucking Lucy's, No Permission and shit like that. Even though that was Khalifa. I'm fucking up a little bit. I'm jumping the story. I just want to make it clear that his Lucy's were next level because No Permission and shit like that was for the album after that. Anyway, so we're coming over to Black Hollywood, right? The singles were fucking crazy. I believe We Them Boys was on Black Hollywood. I'm pretty sure. That was fucking huge. That was a smashity smash. I think that song might be bigger than Black and Yellow. So you had We Them Boys, you had Staying Up All Night, You and Your Friends and shit like that. Like Wiz was on some kind of weird ass roll where everything he touched just turned to gold in a literal sense. We might as well say platinum because Wiz was so fucking popular. So this is like 2014-ish, right? Then there was this weird shift with Wiz. And it started with a mixtape called 28 Grams. Now, you either love 28 Grams or you fucking hated it. And it was a weird hit or miss type time period for Wiz. He started dabbling in that auto-tune and shit like that, and that's when we saw the birth of Trap Wiz. Now, there were some hard-ass songs off that project, like I think James Bong was on there, I'm not sure, but it was one of the first times that Wiz would drop a mixtape where niggas was kind of like, I don't know about this. But again, we're like at the end of 2014, going into 2015. This is when he got in his Lucy bag. And I was trying to get there earlier, but now I can finally get back to it. Can we talk about the goddamn Lucy's that he dropped before the album Khalifa dropped? Now, obviously, you got the singles like Bake Sale and shit like that and BTS and all that shit. But can we please talk about the Lucy's that made the fucking album? You got Lit. You got No Permission. I mean, Jesus Christ, some of these songs are literal like 1 minute, 30-second Lucy's. I'm talking a verse, a hook, that's it. And a fucking fade out. That shit Trippie Redd be doing, that shit X was doing. This nigga Wiz was the origin of the fucking short song. Oh my God, there are some fire-ass Lucy's from the Khalifa era that did make the album that I don't know if the album versions are as dope as the actual songs themselves, but they were what they were. So right after Khalifa drops, he does the collaboration with Fast and Furious, and we get See You Again. Now, I don't need to explain how popular that song is. It is what it is. I can pretty much skim past that. After See You Again, it's to my understanding that Wiz Khalifa went down the Lil Wayne route, and he was having issues with Atlantic. I believe that's where he signed, and he was ready to put out, I assume it was Rolling Papers 2 that was getting pushed back, but it didn't happen. And Wiz was kind of missing from the mainstream rap game for about 2 years. I don't think we got Khalifa until the summer of 2018, because I remember it dropped the same year X died. So we're talking about 2015 to 2018. So that is 3 years of inactivity. And just think about how the landscape of music changed so drastically. We're talking J. Cole, he was in a different type of bag. Kendrick Lamar was in a different type of bag at that point. SZA had exploded onto the scene and shit like that. You had a bunch of rappers coming up from your X's and your Juices and your Peeps and all that shit. Lil Uzi became a thing. Like, music had changed so drastically that when Wiz made his return, granted the album was good. I fuck with Rolling Papers too. I just don't know if the masses were there for it like they used to be, unfortunately. I would say if we're talking about the true run of Wiz Khalifa, I'm gonna say 2010, because we can't really count 2009 like that. Like, only like real hardcore Wiz folks are gonna sit there and hit you with the ink my whole body, I don't give a motherfucker. Like, you feel me? So I don't know if I can count that shit. So let's say 2010 through 2015. That's a strong ass 4 years. And I think Wiz gets left out of a lot of conversations of most popular rappers for some reason. And I think he deserves just a little bit more respect, because Wiz is that fucking guy. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you remember the forgotten run of Wiz Khalifa? This has been your friendly neighbor. Well, yeah, that's right. Fuck you. Alan LeVert.